Willie D Live.
What's up, family? The parents of Kendrick Johnson has filed a $10 billion lawsuit against judges and authorities, accusing them of covering up the 2013 death of their son. Family, we know what it is. We already know what it is. This lawsuit was filed in March of 2026, and it claims that the judges in the case were part of a conspiracy to fabricate reports and dismiss the evidence pointing to murder rather than an accidental death as initially ruled. Now, family, this case is a case of murder as great as any case you've ever seen. Look at this, fam. This is how they found Kendrick's body, inside of a rolled up map just lying on the floor. And they said he suffocated. He climbed inside of that. In some kind of way, he suffocated. He got his shoes off. Now, his shoes are off his feet. He climbed in there, they say, to get his shoes. He climbed inside of the mat to get his shoes. They said the mat was vertical, but all of the mats inside of the gym was like lying on the floor. I want to show y'all some news footage right quick. I want you to check this out. These uncivilized mutts are at it again.
Well, Anderson, the Johnsons were hoping that this video would give them some answers. There was even a hashtag on Twitter, "Give us the tapes." But it appears that this video is only providing more questions and very few answers. We've got a couple of clips from these hours of video we've watched. Let's look at the first one. And it shows Kendrick walking in from the right side of your screen there. He's behind another student. And as soon as he runs out, you see that student disappears and a couple of other students appear. It's from one image to the next with no explanation of how those students got to that position or where the student at that red shirt went. Now, we blurred their faces because they're minors in this video and the next. Let's go to the next one. You can see Kendrick at the bottom right of the screen. He's walking at first, and then he runs out of the frame. And just like the first video, other students just appear. No explanation of how they got to that point. You don't see them walk in. We've not edited these videos to just kind of put one image next to the other. This is how we receive them from the sheriff's office today.
So the video seems to be jumping around. You're saying those aren't edits? Is that, I mean, I assume it's a motion sensor camera. Is that the way it's supposed to work, that it may take a few seconds for an image to register?
That was our first question. When we see the images, especially of Kendrick with all these hours of video, it's like, well, what happened at the end of this and how did these students appear? Was this video edited? So we reached out to both the school that owns the cameras that recorded it and then the sheriff's office, which had a copy of it, which supplied it to us. I want to read you the statements. First, from the school district, an attorney for Lowndes County Schools says simply, what we produced to the sheriff is a raw feed with no edits. And then from the attorney for the sheriff's office, my client has confirmed that the video was not altered or edited by anyone within the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office. They both maintain that what we see is exactly what was recorded.
What about the corner where the gym mats are, or where Kendrick's body was ultimately found? I mean, that seems to be the key place. We've known there was a camera there. You saw the video from that camera today. What did you see?
Yeah, this is the most important camera of all 36, and I want to show you the video. It's blurry. Of all 36 cameras, a video that was provided, this angle is blurry. It's almost impossible to make out any of the faces. And if you look at the corner, it's the top left of the image. Those are the mats in which Kendrick Johnson was found. What you don't see is the top of the mats. And we know why that's important because sheriff's deputies say that he climbed in through the top of the mat. They say that the students who found him were playing on top of those mats. And in this video, because you can't see that image, you can't see that. Also, you know, we saw from one image to the next in the other videos, from looking at this, we see students playing basketball. And then a few frames later, we see what appears to possibly be the nurse running in. Then we see someone running through with a gurney. So there is, we know from the file of the investigative file, there are activities and there are events between these, but we just don't see them through what is the only blurry image, the blurry angle of all 36 cameras that were provided by the school district and the sheriff's office.
So I'm a little confused. I mean, we saw Kendrick running, and from one angle, the camera on the mat, does that show him approaching the mats at any time? And is there anybody else that shows up?
There is activity in the hours of video there, but it's so blurry and so much is happening in that corner. There are bleachers there, and students, we know from the file, would sit in that area. The police say that they would play in that area, but because we can't see the top of the mats from the image, we can't tell if anyone ever went on top and when they went on top. And we don't see Kendrick running in that direction. And if we were to see someone going in that direction, the image is so blurry. We have not edited this at all, the clarity of it, to tell if Kendrick is running in the direction of the mats.
Okay, fam. I want to show you something else here. I want to show you this. Oh, man. Let me get rid of this right quick. I want to show you this right here. Let's see. How can I do this here? Let's try to do it like that. Okay. Okay, I want to show you this. Let's see. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. And I want to share this screen with y'all. I want you to look at that. So that's the match. The mat ain't 30 feet tall. And somehow he had a ladder or something, and he climbed his way up and went down and busted his head wide open. That's the mat. It don't look like it's taller than 5 feet. Even if we were to entertain this lying-ass report where he so-called climbed inside of the mat. He climbed inside of the mat to retrieve his tennis shoes. Family, they said his tennis shoes, he put his tennis shoes inside the mat to avoid paying locker fees. That is what they theorized, because some kids do that. They put their tennis shoes inside the mat to avoid paying locker fees. Ain't no damn body putting their tennis shoes inside of no mat to avoid paying locker fees, man. If you're going to hide your tennis shoes somewhere, you're going to try to hide them somewhere where people ain't going to have access to them all day, every day. Those mats are being used constantly. So everybody, we all know this, what this is, fam. We knew this when it first happened. I reported on it. I'm sure you can search it, but I reported on this when it first happened. And I said it then, I'll say it now. This boy was murdered. This is a murder cover-up at the highest level. And I do believe Lowndes school officials are in cahoots with the local law enforcement there. Now, they said that initially they were talking about how at some point in the investigation, they were saying something about the two boys who was responsible for killing Kendrick. Daddy worked for the FBI. I don't know how true that is, but I could see it being plausible. I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule anything out. And let me do this for the parents. It's nonstop pursuit for justice. I ain't got no problem with that, because that's what it takes sometimes. In fact, oftentimes, that's what it takes, especially when black people are killed by non-black people, that's what it takes. You got to go for it, man. You got to fight, because the system is rigged. It's stacked up against us. It's stacked up against us. So we got to fight for everything. We got to fight. You cannot let these uncivilized mutts get away. Family, we know damn well that camera wasn't glitching the way that they said it was. It wasn't just skipping around like that, man. That thing would be useless. Why even have cameras like that if it's not going to catch a person coming and going? You can't tell where a person came from, which direction he came from. That don't even make no damn sense. They played with the evidence. They doctored the footage. We know that for a fact. You don't have to be Einstein to figure that out. They doctored the evidence. This is why it's important for us to be in those rooms, man. This is why it's important for us to raise prosecutors, lawyers, judges. We gotta be in those rooms to give ourselves a fair shot. We gotta be in those rooms. If I were the family, I probably wouldn't even pursue the lawsuit right now. I don't know what the statute of limitation is on this type of case. But if I could buy some time, I would not immediately go after a lawsuit right now, not under this current administration, because they all in the same gang, and Trump ain't trying to put no members of law enforcement in jail. He ain't trying to put no judges in jail. Not any that favors him, that's rocking with him. He ain't trying to do that. So, man, that's going to be an uphill battle. But I respect the family like hell. I respect the mother, the father like hell for not giving up, because that's what they want to do. They want to stonewall you. They'll tell you, we get back to you. Oh, yeah, officer such. Yeah, well, he'll call you. Then they just wait. You wait days, now weeks. Next thing you know, they not answering the phone. They're not calling back. When they do call back, well, I'll get back with you. Then they never get back with you. Then they pass it on to somebody else. And then you start to repeat, this person he was transferred for this. He's no longer on your case. We got a new person on the case. Well, let me see what's going on. And they just try to wear you down until you finally just give up. Now, here are some facts about the case. First of all, Kendrick was murdered on January 11, 2013. He was 17 years old at the time that he was found inside of a rolled up wrestling mat in the gym of Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia. Lowndes High School. Remember that. The officials there who are part of this whole conspiracy. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. They called it a freak accident. Nah, I'm with the family. I'm maintaining murder. Here's the official timeline. The students discovered his body upside down in the center of a vertical mat. One of his shoes was found behind his knees, while another was deep inside the mat near his head. The theory the investigators came up with is that he climbed into the mat to retrieve a shoe, a common practice among students to avoid locker fees, became stuck and was unable to breathe. You dirty, low-down mother. The autopsy won from the GBI ruled the cause of death as positional asphyxia, suffocation due to his body position, and the matter as accidental. The closed investigations in 2013, Lawrence County Sheriff's Office closed the case as an accident. Just closed it, just like that, 2013, same year. 2016, the Department of Justice closed a federal civil rights investigation citing insufficient evidence to prove a crime was committed. In 2022, a second local investigation led by Sheriff Ashley Park reaffirmed the accidental ruling, stating there was no homicide, no cover-up, no conspiracy. I got some more information for this sheriff, the new guy in town, in a moment. I think you'll find this interesting. The Johnson family and their supporters point to several points of contention that they believe suggest a cover-up. Conflicting autopsies, that's a big one. A private second autopsy found evidence of blunt force trauma to the right neck and suggested the death was not accidental. A third autopsy in 2018 also indicated trauma, though some experts argue these marks could have occurred during the original autopsy or the body's decomposition. Missing internal organs. Missing internal organs. During the second autopsy, it was discovered that Johnson's internal organs were missing and his body had been stuffed with newspaper. The funeral home claimed the organs were destroyed or discarded newspaper, while not hold on, let me back up. The funeral home claimed that the organs were discarded or destroyed by the state's medical examiner before they received this body. The funeral home claimed the organs were destroyed or discarded by the state medical examiner before they received the body and filled the void with newspaper, while not best practice, did not violate any laws. Surveillance video gaps, another big one. Forensic analysis for CNN found gaps in the school's surveillance footage. Authorities stated these were due to camera systems not being synchronized and motion-activated sensors that did not trigger in areas where no movement occurred. Now remember, there's movement. These people are going in and out of the place, but they're not seeing people coming in and out. They're not catching any of that movement. Accusations against classmates. The family filed a $100 million lawsuit alleging that two brothers whose father was an FBI agent killed Kendrick. However, investigators confirmed that one brother was in class and the other was on a bus traveling to a wrestling tournament at the time Johnson was last seen. That don't mean nothing. Keep in mind, you got people covering up from the highest levels. We're talking from the schools to law enforcement to the courts. So that ain't nothing to place him somewhere else and have that corroborated by other people who are involved in the conspiracy. Legal status. New litigation. As of 2024 to 2025, the family filed a $1 billion lawsuit against GBI, Lawrence County Sheriff's Office, alleging they provided false information. And here's the recent appeals. In early 2025, an appeals court ruled that a previously dismissed lawsuit by the family could be reconsidered. And here's that piece that I wanted to tell y'all about the sheriff. The sheriff, Ashley Park, has previously offered a $500,000 award of his own money for information leading to a conviction, expressing confidence that the original accidental finding was correct, but wanting to settle the case for the community. What sheriff you know got $500,000 just hanging around? The sheriff needs to be investigated. If he got $500,000 in cash hanging around that he can just give to somebody else. Now, it's one thing, if you save $500,000, more power to you, man. But what sheriff got $500,000 to give to anybody? Unless he's corrupt. And that still don't make any sense. Because this sounds like a guy who is not interested in settling this case. This sounds like a guy who's just really sure, very, very sure that all of the people involved in this cover-up are never going to come forward. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.